感じがしますね。
World Series 2026. So I've just done the maths. We're about to go into our 9th season. 9th. We're edging very close towards a decade here. But you know what? Each year it keeps getting better and better. And last year was kind of mind-blowing, so I'm really, really psyched for this year, because I just think it's going to be even better. So it's round one, of course. We're here in Milan. We're going to have some of the best sim racers in the world battling it out to be crowned champion as we go on our entire World Series World Tour. Lots to get through, but first of all, let me give you some free stuff. Don't forget, you can jump into the World Series action too. Inside Gran Turismo 7, head over to the bonus campaign and select the winners campaign banner on the GT7 world map. Predict the winners for a chance to win 1 million credits for both the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup. Just imagine what you could spend that on. And remember, voting stays open right up until each of the grand finals begins. Good luck. Watch the World Series broadcast through GT7 and you'll unlock some special in-game rewards through the Viewers campaign. Tune in to the Manufacturers Cup and you'll receive a Porsche 911 GT3 R22. Watch, claim your rewards and enjoy. I mean, free rewards are very hard to say no to. So don't miss your chance to grab them.
So, first of all, welcome everybody. This is Brian. Hi Brian, everyone say hi Brian!
Sono così emozionato. Ciao Jules. Can I say something in Italian?
Yeah, as long as it's not rude.
Yes. Benvenuti a Milano!
Wow, this is, I thought America, you are the best
Incredible.
crowd we've ever had. This is insane, this is great. I'm loving it. So excited to have you here though. Thanks for coming and joining us.
I'm so excited. For me is an honor. Gran Turismo is a milestone. Io sono veramente emozionato. L'emozione non è soltanto mia, ma è anche di questo pubblico incredibile qui a Milano, al Teatro Lirico. How do you feel? First round.
This is an amazing crowd. Right, you see, I've got some other good news. I mean, it's not just great that we're here in Milan, but also I do believe there's some rather interesting Gran Turismo news we would like to tell you about.
Okay.
Ooh. think, do you like that? I wasn't sure. Do you like it?
Io credo che siano molto contenti di questo. They like it so much.
I mean, they were literally screaming all the way through the entire video. So I think that's a solid yes. Don't forget to check out GranTurismo.com and of course all the GT socials for when that's going to happen, and it's going to be epic. Are you excited about it?
I'm so excited, sono così contento, sarà incredibile, i migliori sim racer saranno qui oggi per questo primo round, incredible.
It's going to be great. Now I know you missed last year, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But if any of you did out there, here's a little bit of our 2025 Manufacturers Cup recap.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've all been waiting for. It's time to meet the drivers for the Manufacturers Cup for Gran Turismo World Series 1 here in London.
Suzuki is not thinking about that right now. Miyazono looking to the inside. Will he have a go here? 2 kilometers an hour. Suzuki goes defensive. Miyazono goes all the way to the outside.
Then going to be Team Subaru and for Takuma Miyazono, who win the grand final. Welcome to round 2 of the Gran Turismo World Series.
Well, let's see what will happen. Who will be taking the checkered flag and those all-important 6 points? Strumont getting aggressive and Leafer into the wall. Side by side they go. That's going to cost Strumont. Here we go then. Toronto splits the middle. Euro as well. The headlights illuminating the darlings as they blast their way down as they come into the final corners of this race. And are they going to make it? Second goes through on the outside to the checkered flag. Kylian Drumont takes victory for Subaru here in Berlin. Absolutely fantastic.
It's time to meet our 12 competitors as we welcome them onto the stage here in Los Angeles. Cardinal with the slipstream with the advantage. Carrazza's not going to give this one up though without a fight. Estrosza versus Carrazza, Porsche versus Toyota, the victory, and Estrosza win! What a fantastic drive for the Chilean. Great to be here in Fukuoka for the Gran Turismo World Finals in the Manufacturers Cup.
Welcome to the Gran Turismo World Series.
Manufacturers Cup underway, World Finals in Fukuoka.
It has done in the past, it can do again. As Kogiman looks at, he's hit Serrano's round.
Benelli and Mercedes on the inside and through and into second. They split the top 2. Side by side we are also for the race lead. Into the braking zone. Around the outside goes Benelli. Contact there with Mazda. Porsche become the Manufacturers Cup champions of 2025. It's time to meet our drivers who will be competing in the Manufacturers Cup in 2026 for round 1. First up for Mazda, it's Spain's Pol Ura. Mazda finished 3rd in the Manufacturers Cup in 2025, and Pol will be looking to try and extend their podium tally this season and hopefully add a victory to their stable as well. Next up for Volkswagen, it's Mehdi Hafidi. Mehdi was part of the 2023 Manufacturers Cup winning lineup with Nissan, so he knows how to win a title. But can he do the business here tonight in the Group 3 Volkswagen Beetle? Makes his way onto the stage in front of the amazing crowd here in Milan. What a superb atmosphere we've got. Next up, a debutant, a new face to the Gran Turismo World Series. From Britain, Subaru is who he's driving for. It's Callum Moxon. 24 years old, making his debut, as I said, and also adapting to using a wheel after many, many years playing with a controller. Miroslav Kotrenko returns to the Gran Turismo World Series. He's competing for Lamborghini in 2026, but he was part of the Mazda lineup, which took 2nd in the Manufacturers Cup back in 2021. Next up, Antonio Santos for Lexus. The 19-year-old Frenchman will be here in the GT World Series for the Japanese manufacturer. Let's see how he gets on this weekend. Of course, Lexus, 2-time champions within this category. And they would love to add to that tally here tonight. Mikołaj Sejak, the Polish driver, is competing for Nissan this season. He finished 3rd in Berlin last year. Nissan, of course, the 2023 Manufacturers Cup champions. 2 top 5 finishes to his name so far. Another driver making his debut in the GT World Series is Maximilian Kroll, the German. He's competing for Ferrari this year in the Manufacturers' Cup. The last Ferrari podium, though, believe it or not, was back in 2024 in Prague when Mohamed Medina won it against Porsche. Kroll, of course, now competing in the 296 GTB. AMG have got a new lineup this year with Jack Balding at the helm, also making his debut, just 18 years of age as the British driver. The last time we saw them on the podium was back in 2023 at the World Finals in Monaco. Jose Serrano for Porsche, they're the reigning champions of course, and they have an unchanged driver lineup for the 2026 season. Consistency seems to be the order of the game for the German manufacturer, and who better than Jose Serrano to lead their charge for the opener here this weekend. Toyota have got Benjamin Hensei at the wheel for round one here in Milan. The 28-year-old changed from the Japanese manufacturer from Porsche. One career top 5 finish to his name so far, of course, when he took second place in Prague against Medina in the Ferrari a couple of years ago. And some big news as well. Kilian Drumont moves from Subaru over to German manufacturer Audi. He won the 2022 title with Subaru. Let's see how he's going to fare, though, with a brand new car for him to contend with in the Audi R8. And finally, another debutant in the GT World Series, 18-year-old Samuel Moreno from Spain. He was the top qualifier in the regional qualifiers earlier on this year, makes his first live event appearance, and he's racing for BMW in 2026. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please stand if you're able for the national anthem of our host nation here in Italy. Interview first. Sorry, mate. Oh, what?
Them is like they were all the, not even just the words, but the bits as well. Like fully into it.
Il nostro inno nazionale le piace veramente tantissimo. Sì, è incredibile.
That was great.
Yeah, it's great, I know.
I am super excited. We were just sitting down there a minute ago, and like Brian's like, you know what? I'm just really excited.
Yeah,
Basically,
absolutely.
We all are.
Il nostro pubblico comunque si fa sentire. Italia, fatevi sentire!
Okay, I think we should ask the crowd who they think is going to win.
Yeah.
Who do they think is going to win? Everybody.
Secondo voi chi vincerà? Too many.
Too many to choose from. I mean, it really is anybody's race, so we're going to find out very, very shortly. But why don't we, you know, if you don't know the structure, we have provided a lovely video explaining how it all works.
Twelve manufacturers selected from the online series ranking, one global championship, and a brand new road to the World Finals. Manufacturers will compete across 3 online rounds: EMEA, Asia Oceania, and the Americas. 1 driver per team will race in each round, with 3 of them competing together at the World Finals at the end of the year. For today's race, we'll have 2 time trial sessions. The 6 fastest teams from Q1 will advance to Q2, where they'll battle once more to determine the Grand Final starting grid. Grand Final points are awarded from 1st to 6th place, with victory delivering the maximum of 6 points.
Now, we're joined down here by Valerio Gallo. Valerio, that must feel pretty good. They are screaming behind you. Does that feel good to hear?
It yourself. It's amazing. I love this country.
Vi ama, ragazzi, vi ama. Sì. Today is like this. Welcome to Italy.
Grazie. Thank you so much.
I mean, how does it feel? Like, obviously, you know, you're in your home country. Like, does that add is it a bit of pressure? Do you train differently? Like, what do you know, how does it work?
There's a lot going on, surely. I think, you know, for this event especially, I was waiting a lot of years. And we finally made it, you know, in our home country with all our own people. And, you know, all our friends came to watch me. And I'm so proud because I was growing with them, you know, this time. And to see myself now in this stage with them, it's such a pleasure and an honor. So thank you all. It's really, I'm not enough thankful, so thank you so much.
Competizione a casa e lui è chiaramente contentissimo e felicissimo per quello che fate e ovviamente il nostro pubblico italiano si sente, vero? Te la faccio in italiano questa domanda.
Sì.
Come ti senti col pubblico di casa qui con te oggi?
A casa, a casa, a casa.
Easy.
This is what, like. So, can you ask them a question for me, which is like, would they like to just come and follow us around the entire world because this audience is amazing? Do you want to come to Japan, please? Come on, like everyone, come with us.
No, Jules giustamente dice, ma potrebbero seguirci in tutto il mondo gli italiani perché fanno veramente un sacco di rumore perché l'energia è solo nostra.
Grazie, grazie ragazzi.
It's amazing. If we could fit them all on one bus and take them with us, we absolutely would. Well, look, Valerio, it's amazing to see you. It's great to see all the praise from your home country. You totally deserve it. But I guess we should probably, I don't know, do some racing today? I guess. All right, let's do some racing. Let's throw it up to Tom and Jimmy.
Jules, thank you very much indeed. Hugely excited to get the 2026 GT World Series underway here in Milan. What an amazing city, what an amazing crowd, and an amazing day's worth of action that we're really looking forward to, Jimmy.
Yeah, definitely. These guys are insane. Like, I mean, we're pretty well soundproofed down here, but all I can hear right now is just like chanting and singing. It's amazing. I mean, what a way to start off our season this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we've got action to come from the manufacturers today. We've got the Nations Cup later on. I mean, they're not going to have any energy left by that point, I don't think.
Oh, I think that'd be fine. That'll be all right.
Italian coffee's pretty strong.
It's pretty good as well, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to getting the Manufacturers' Cup underway. Lots of action, as we said, to come here tonight, including the top 6 qualifying on the way very, very shortly indeed. But don't forget, of course, that we've got plenty of action to come this season as well. The GT World Series heads over to Singapore in October. And if you fancy getting involved, getting some tickets and some more information on it, have a look at this for more.
The Gran Turismo World Series is coming to stunning Singapore for the first time. We'll be at the Sands Theatre on Saturday, 3rd October as part of Grand Prix season Singapore. Check Gran-Turismo.com from Monday, 25th of May for tickets and to find out more about an exciting Singapore Regional Time Trial Challenge on GT7. See you in Singapore.
Well, thanks me. It's me again.
Good job, you.
I appreciate that.
Well done.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you. 9 years working together. We've figured it out. Anyway, yeah, action to come, as we said, in Singapore later on this year in October. But Manufacturers' Cup, that's the big one to come here tonight. And, well, we decided to throw a bit of a spanner into the works for this one because it's the Nordschleife, but not as we know it.
My word, yeah, I had to go at this a bit earlier on. It's awful. But basically, we're doing the Nürburgring in reverse, backwards. Everything is completely different. So it's a one-lap attack for these guys. They've got a bit of time to practice, but imagine one of the most well-known circuits in the world. They're going, actually, now I do it backwards. That's what we're doing today for our competitors. A great way, I think, to start off our Manufacturers' Cup. And some names not doing so well early on.
Absolutely. So we've got the top 6 qualifier. We had general qualifying taking place earlier on today. That decided the grid positions from 7th down to 12th. The top 6, though, are going to be out in this last chance qualifier here in a few moments' time. You can see it's the EMEA region for this first event of the season. And out, of course, for Porsche, we'll have Jose Serrano, the reigning champion in the Nations Cup. We'll have Kroll, the German driver, in the Ferrari, Lexus for Santos, Moreno for BMW, Sejak for Nissan, and Bolding in the AMG. And here you can see they are the top 6 that will go through. Unfortunate, though, for the likes of Pol Jura, Kilian Drumont in particular, who's changed manufacturers, they go no further than they will line up in those positions on the grid.
Yeah, and of course Kravchenko as well, you see, having a horrible time, making a mistake there, 23 seconds off the fastest time. Moxon as well having to change over from the gamepad to the wheel. Not a bad effort there, 4 seconds off. 4 seconds around the ring isn't that long, but of course when you're in such a competitive environment like this, that sort of time frame it's not going to cut it.
No, absolutely not. You can see the drivers there getting themselves ready for qualifying in a couple of moments' time. That'll be out on track here at the Nordschleife circuit. You can see some pensive faces there, in particular for the AMG driver. That is Jack Bolding, the Briton, who will be making his debut here tonight. And we often talk about it, Jimmy, but the pressure of jumping from your bedroom or your sitting room onto the world stage with a crowd, especially as loud as the one here in Italy, it can't be underestimated.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult to get yourself in the zone, all the lights, all the cameras, but that's what makes this one of the toughest sim racing competitions in the world.
Certainly does. Well, there is the Ferrari driver. That is Maximilian Kroll, again another driver who makes his debut. So, top 6 qualifying about to begin then here. This is Jack Bolding heading out onto the circuit for the first time. As we said, the Nordschleife, but in reverse. Take everything you know about it and just flip it on its head. And it's as difficult as it sounds, because I had a couple of goes at this yesterday, and I'll be honest, every reference point you have, it goes out the window.
Man, I'm getting anxiety watching this, seeing the guys come on the pit lane the wrong way. I think, oh no, what's going to happen here? But yeah, they've had enough time to sort of get a feel for what this is like. But we start off, of course, with a lap usually ends on the Dr. Her, going backwards all the way up towards Gamkov now. And a little bit of time, really, for Bolding here in the AMG to centre himself. It was a very long straight. This should flat out for 20-30 seconds here before really having to get into the hard work of a situation. So, interesting to see how this AMG will do around here. Of course, a very famous competitor in this car over the weekend in the N24. Didn't quite work out for him. Let's see if it does for Mr. Bolding into the first real corner now of the lap. And nice and easy through there, and using all the circuit. And it's so strange watching this because I know it, but I don't know it at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, everything is completely reversed in towards the mini carousel. This is where we actually had the after party for the GT World Series back in 2019, just on the inside there of that corner. Heck of a
important trivia, that.
Heck of a party it was as well, Jimmy. I don't think we've ever quite lived it down. But yeah, this is Jack Bolding's outlap, of course. So he's just come out of the pit lane. He's now on the circuit and getting some heat into the tyres and the brakes. The good thing is, of course, it's quite a long lap, so he can sort of get his reference points. And obviously these drivers will have been practicing over the last couple of weeks at home just to make sure that they've got everything in as good a position as they possibly can. But as we know, it's very easy in principle to do it, but in practice, it's completely different.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tricky to perform under pressure, you know, especially in sim here in GT, where maybe you're not quite in your comfortable environment you usually drive from. But you know, that's where people who have taken part in this event before will have the advantage over those who are making their first appearance. You know, a little bit of trivia there. When he was 8 years old, that's when Nikolai Sejak first picked up his first copy of Gran Turismo. Pathetic. I was 6. Get him out of here.
Nikolai Sejak driving for that Nissan team. As we said, Nissan, of course, Manufacturers' Cup champions back in 2023. He's actually had a podium in the GT World Series. That was back in Berlin last year for the Polish driver. We'll see how he fares. Despite being Polish in terms of name, he's got a very British, thick British accent for that matter as well. It catches you quite off guard when you first talk to him.
Here is Moreno in the BMW, the M6. 2016 model, still going strong, this thing.
10 years old now.
Yeah, I mean, almost as old as our GT World Series. We're getting there, not quite there yet, but no, this BMW, pretty quick around here. It's always been a good choice. A little bit wide there as we come backwards through Brunchen 1 and 2. This is what you like to call YouTube corner through here, where a lot of the big incidents you see at the ring take part. Here's Santos and Alexis. Always a very good bet as well, Alexis. Of course, quick as well this year. Well, that remains to be seen, I suppose, but already in the top 6 in qualifying. Good start to the Manufacturers' Cup. But let's be real, I mean, like, the qualifying does matter at these events, but it's a bit of an endurance, you know. It's more just putting yourself and maybe giving your competition a little bit of a poke, saying, hey, listen, look how quick I am. Well, I was saying that Moreno has already picked up a penalty there.
Yeah, he's only on an out lap at the moment. They're obviously not on their time lap. They've just come out of the pit lane. So it's just a warning sign there for Moreno. Don't do that when you start your one and only flying lap, because obviously it's going to go wrong. I think it's going to be interesting, this particular qualifying session, as we say, because, as you said, the reference points are completely different. But we do talk about this circuit from a racing perspective, Jimmy. You know, you go around sort of the first part of the Nordschleife and you look at it and think, okay, well, it's sort of quite wide and open. Then it becomes very much one line through so much of it. Do you think the fact that we're now reversing this layout is going to maybe open up some more overtaking opportunities that wouldn't have been there otherwise?
I mean, it's just going to flip it on its head. I mean, a great example is the run, what will now be down to Bergwerk. I mean, in real life, it's uphill and your car is limited by gravity, but now you're assisted on the way down. So instead of you're doing maybe 20, 30 kph faster than you would usually. So it really does change the landscape of the lap. And as you say, Tom, it opens up overtake opportunities that wouldn't usually be something you even think about. But here's Kroll in the 296. Recently had this GT last year. Very cool, very sexy looking car, this thing, as it comes down towards this is a carousel. I think it's the carousel. It is, yeah. And this is a very, very difficult entry here, because you're loading the car up in the left hand and having to slow the thing down from quite a high speed into that carousel there. So Kroll doing it a lot better than I did it in my lap earlier on.
I just need to correct myself as well, actually. I was of the understanding that drivers were going to go out, do an out lap, and then start their flying lap. This actually is the flying lap. As soon as they come out the pit lane, that lap starts. So they are on their flying lap, and that does mean, especially for this man here, Moreno, he's picked up that half-second penalty. That lap's gone already.
Oh, we all knew that, Tom. Didn't you know that?
Evidently not.
No.
First mistake of the year. Good to get one in early.
Yeah, get it out of the way very nice and early. Here is Serrano, new bit of kit for him this year. This 992 GT3R up from the RSR, and looking very aggressive. Of course, Serrano really has it all to do this year. He's going to have a target on his back, both in the Manufacturers Series and Nations Cup. Incredibly fast last year. In his own words, almost a perfect season. Obviously looking to try and reflect that in this season, but this is the first hurdle, really, and it is quite a hurdle.
Yeah, it is. If you look at Serrano's form, though, at the end of 2025, I mean, that man was absolutely imperious. In the Nations Cup, he completely dominated things once we got to Fukuoka. That Porsche is looking really handy this year as well. Actually, a new machine as well. You can see it's the 992 variant. So gone is the 991. This is now the sort of up-to-date modern car, as it were, with Jose Serrano. And I've spoken to some of the competitors up and down the field. They've all been saying this is the car to beat. This is the car that we think is going to be quickest out there on track. So it's down to Serrano to deliver that lap time here.
So right now at the moment, Baldwin coming sort of towards the end of the lap now, going back towards the GP circuit, up through Hudson back, which is so... I'm so wired to drive this circuit a certain way, and my brain's having trouble here. But yeah, really interesting to see it attacked from the secondary way. And these guys, they're going to find every bit of speed possible. So on every little bit of tarmac, up through the Spinspitz curve now. And now you're going through T13, which takes you on to the GP circuit, which actually is, as I think we were discussing this a bit earlier, Tom, that GP circuit is very weird when you go around the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Normally it's quite flowing and quite easy, but there's a couple of corners in particular, the hairpin bends when you get onto the GP circuit. One of them is really off camber and horrible to get on the power, because you just sort of have to wait, and the circuit falls away from you. And the last corner as well, you can't see it. So you go through there and you're like, do I get on the power now? No, off, on, you know, and then eventually you can get on the accelerator and blast it towards the line. So yeah, it does make things particularly difficult for the drivers to have to contend with, but that's why they are the best in the world. That's why they're here on the international stage in Milan. competing for these lap times.
Yeah, that's why we don't have Tom gigantic skill issue Brooks taking part in this.
Whoa, 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 whoa. It's fair enough.
We all know it's true. It's all right. Here is Moreno, very frustrated, I assume he'll be with that 0.5 second penalty. That's going to put him automatically pretty much in 6th place in this, but still, 6th is better than 12th. So not completely gone for him, but here is Santos in the Lexus. Kind of hard to have an idea who's quick right now. Sajak is looking the faster of the people who've come through the last few sectors at the moment in the Nissan, so but we won't have any lap times for a little bit yet. Balding, though, is coming round the last corner now. Look at my mini-map, so we're going to get a lap time from him very soon, and that will set the bar for the rest of the field. Yeah,
that Mercedes has not been the most favoured machine in the GT World Series in the Manufacturers' Cup for the last few years, and we'll see how Balding is going to fare with it. There is Jose Serrano, as we said, the sort of man of the moment, really. He's coming over the rise. Now, normally you'd go through there, left-handed kink, and it's one of the scariest and fastest parts of the track. Have a look at some videos on YouTube. You'll see plenty of people getting it wrong and ending up in the wall on the outside. Thankfully, though, of course, when it's reversed, it becomes a lot less scary.
So here we go then, across the start-finish line to get our first lap time. Balding in Team AMG. What can he do? What is the bar that is set for the rest of the competitors? It's a 7:54.1, not bad at all. Very quick, actually, if you include the GP circuit in there as well. Sajak, though, was looking very, very fast through the last couple of sectors, so I do think we might see a slight improvement. We know the Sajak and Nissan combination is a strong one, and of course we'll be looking to try and get off to a good start this year.
Actually, about 0.4 of a second slower is Balding's time than he set in general qualifying earlier on today. So let's wait and see if anybody else can make some improvements. Here is Sejek then, about to come to the line, and this is looking certainly faster, and it is a 7:52.794 for the Polish driver. That is quicker than he set earlier on today by about a second or so. About 8 to 9 tenths of a second is where the margin that he's gained over the course of that lap. Now, we know San Marino, he's been given a penalty here for this one, and let's see what the time on the board is going to be, because that penalty's now gone away, so he served it over the course of this lap. Where's it going to put him, though, in that BMW M6? Again, we know not the most favoured car out there on track. It's actually the slowest of the times we've seen so far, and of course the problem with the penalty is it's not only the time that you set, that you lose rather, in that half a second, it's the time that you lose there with the speed as well, so it's cost him quite dearly.
That's not a bad effort considering, he's right there. I mean, you have to think, what if he didn't have that penalty? That's probably a pole time. Santos picking one up as well, so he'll have that applied as he goes over the start-finish line. God, that must be so frustrating to do the entire lap and just pick up a penalty right at the end there, but it just shows you how tight the margins are for these guys. So here's Santos and Team Lexus across the start-finish line with the penalty, and of course, because he has the penalty when he goes across the line, it is actually not a lap at all. So here is Kroll for Team Ferrari, of course, the hometown favourite here. What can Kroll do? The Ferrari, we know it's pretty quick around here, but we'll see how it is. His sectors, I must say, aren't inspiring too much confidence, but we'll see how they are now. It's just a run to the line. What can he do? Time now ticking down, 7:52.7 to beat from Sajak and the Nissan. Can he pip him or not? He can. Oh my word, I eat my words there. 7:52.5 for Kroll and Team Ferrari. And if Serrano can't go quicker, they will be pole position.
That's a great lap time there for Maximilian Kroll. Of course, that Ferrari, quite new to GT7. We saw it making its debut at the back end of last year in Fukuoka. And clearly the team and the drivers have gotten that car dialed in very nicely. What about Jose Serrano, though? As we said, man of the moment. He's going to be the last of the drivers to come across the timing line. He's blasting it towards the checkered flag, and it's not looked too bad here for Jose Serrano. He was fastest overall in that sort of penultimate sector. He's taking the line now here, and is he going to be pole? It certainly is. Jose Serrano does take it by 0.4 of a second over Maximilian Kroll in the Manufacturers' Cup ahead of the one and only race here tonight. That is absolutely phenomenal from Serrano, continuing where he left off at the end of 2025.
Yeah, business as usual there really for Serrano, isn't it? Just really showing that he's still got that pace, he's still hungry for those victories there. What a good way to start it by putting it on pole here ahead of the race here in Milan. And that is a really unique challenge, that is driving this circuit in reverse. I've said it a couple of times now, but it's basically learning an entire new track, and this circuit has over 140 corners, and you have to forget them all and learn them all again. And to do that and come back and to straight away put it on pole position, I mean, he's got to be the one to beat.
And to go out and set a flying lap as soon as you come out the pit lane as well is certainly nothing to be sniffed at as well. And as we said, there's a little bit of confusion here in the commentary box at the time, because I thought they were going out doing a sort of out lap and then going on for their one and only flying lap, but otherwise we probably would be here literally all day if that was the case. But Jose Serrano going out of the pit lane straight onto that flyer and really extracting the maximum out of that Porsche 911 in that 992 variant now then as well. So Kroll in second, Sejak in third for Nissan. That's a very strong result for him. Balding in fourth in the Mercedes AMG, and then it'll be Moreno and of course Santos, who had that lap time disallowed following the late session penalty. But as we said, good job. This is the man, Jose Serrano, reigning champion in the Nations Cup, and he would love to bring it home for Porsche once again in 2026 as well.
You know, it's really nice seeing the reaction to him in the audience when he came down. I think these guys really deserve it there. You see a lot of support here for Serrano. They know he's the champ. They want to see him do well as well. But can you keep that? I mean, this is a lot of pressure for him. I mean, it's almost like a home audience room. Not quite, but you'd be forgiven for thinking they are. They're very, very vocal here for Serrano. Bad luck there for Santos, having his lap disallowed there, just taking that cut track penalty, and then down in 6th position. So if you missed it, here are some highlights. It was Balding who set the pace at the front of the field in the AMG GT3 car. All looking very strong as the guys got to grips with the Nürburgring in reverse. Yeah, Jose Serrano, as you said, pretty quick out the blocks. He was setting some good sector times there coming through. The first lap time came in, as Jimmy said, from Jack Balding. Then it was Sejak next to Cross, and he managed to obliterate the time set by the Briton as the Polish driver took the checkered flag for the 2023 Manufacturers' Cup champions. Kroll, though, big surprise on his debut in the GT World Series to get it up into 2nd position. Picked at the post, though, by the reigning champions Porsche, with Jose Serrano at the helm. A 752 1-2-2 for the Spaniards means that he will be lining up on pole position here for the race this afternoon. And there we go, Jimmy, we can see the results. Yeah, so just a reminder, Serrano there, pole by 4/10 per second. That might not sound like much, but around there, that's a tiny amount. So very quick between him and Kroll and the German driver for Ferrari. Sejak there, rounding out the top 3 for Team Nissan. Balding 4th, Moreno 5th, and Santos, of course, with his cup track there in 6th position. And that sets the grid there for the top 6, and of course 7th to 12th already decided in the qualifying session a bit earlier on today. Yeah, so disappointment for some drivers there. For Pol Jura, I think he'll be, okay with the fact that he didn't manage to make it into the top 6. He saw the best of the rest there. But, it's a long race, that one. Expecting it to be about 45 minutes or so from lights out to the checkered flag. So there's a good opportunity for those positions to change. As we know, it's a very, very long lap here at the Nordschleife, and anything can happen, and certainly when it's in reverse. And of course, we've not seen these competitors racing each other around this circuit. So it's all well and good going and doing, one flying lap in qualifying. But when you've got 12 other drivers on the grid, it's a different kettle of fish. Yeah, 12 other drivers all think they're the fastest driver there. So you tend to have this big crunching thing going on. But yeah, race coming up, and very, very interested to see how the likes of Pol Jura can come back from that result. And of course, those who weren't as hot in qualifying. But you can't advise Serrano. The guy's looking just imperious as always. Yeah, exactly. Jose Serrano, as we said, man of the moment from 2025 and continues that form in 2026. Let's have a look then at the race details for the grand final. So Group 3 cars and hard, medium and soft compound of tyres available for the drivers. So we do see the return of tyre compounds to worry about in this race. It's a 6-lapper, so it's about 45 minutes or so, and the strategy is going to be very interesting. If you qualify further back, do you go onto the soft tyre first of all, try and make some ground? Is that going to then cost you and compromise your race later on? It's a tough one. I mean, it's one of those things where you want to try and make sure you have track position, especially around here. It's so hard to overtake that sometimes maybe using that soft early and just getting yourself in a nice bit of space might be the play. Alternatively, maybe go on that hard car and cause some issues to somebody else behind them. But that's not for those guys to figure out, not for us, luckily. Thankfully, we're very glad about that. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how things will go. As you can see, the pace difference there, 2.4 seconds from the softs to the mediums, 6.6 seconds from the mediums to the hards as well. And the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit, it's a legendary track on the calendar, and we decided to let Jimmy Broadbent go and show us how not to go around it. Have a look at this. With limited success. So already got a penalty there as I explore some of the grass. But this is my first ever lap around here in this layout, and I was having a tough time. I'm not going to lie to you. Here's me on the run down to the carousel. Now watch this great braking point. Look at this. Perfection. Perfection. Very, very tricky.
Were you blindfolded, or?
I mean, you just don't feel it coming, It's very tricky. But, on the other side of things, up here, this is the Vauxhall. This is much easier, but the circuit in general, I think, is far more difficult going that way around. But, well, for me anyway, it was.
Well, of course, last weekend was the fabled Nürburgring 24-hour race. We won't ask some people how they got on. We will look, though, at Takuma Miyazono, who made his debut at this circuit in the Toyota Supra, a GT4 car. Amazing to see the man who we've lauded so much in the GT World Series over many, many years now, driving at the Green Hell and actually making it to the checkered flag, finishing 4th in class.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Can't relate.
No, can't relate to that. Not at all.
He did very well, and actually, I think
did.
he really, really enjoyed himself giving me his own. I mean, how could you not?
I was in the car at the same time as him when he was doing his night stint, and super competent, really fun to come across him as well. Gave him a little wave on the way through. It was a nice moment. It's nice to see him there.
Well, let's have a look at the starting grid just to remind you. So we know Jose Serrano and Porsche will begin on pole position. Maximilian Kroll in 2nd position for Ferrari. Then it's Sejak for Nissan. Bolding for AMG. Moreno, Santos, Jura, Hafidi, Drummond, Hengsei, Moxon, and then Miroslav Kravchenko will complete the grid in 12th position. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one will fare. And of course, we've got some new names to the championship this year. We've got a few that we want to keep an eye on. In particular, though, some of the old guard. Jose Serrano there. Porsche, reigning champions, can't count him out. Kylian Drummond, new manufacturer. Mikołaj Sejak, Nissan, of course, won it a few years ago. And Mikołaj, after that podium in Berlin last year, I think he could spring a couple of surprises.
Yeah, there's a lot of pace here in this shot. It's always very tricky for us to try and pick those who we think are going to succeed or maybe just have a step above the rest of the competition. It's always hard to look by Serrano, and again, for you guys at home, it seems that you agree with us. 73% thinking that Jose Serrano's going to take the win today, but good support there for Drummond, 10%, although nothing for Sejak, really. My boy Sejak getting left out a little bit there for Team Nissan.
Well, hey, look, if you get it right on the Predicting the Winners campaign, you get yourself 1 million credits on GT7. So, you know, amazing. Absolutely wonderful. Looking forward to that. Manufacturers' Cup action then is about to begin here in Milan. Let's go down to Jules and Brian before we get the race underway.
I mean, we are just moments away from round 1 Manufacturers' Cup Grand Final. What do you reckon? It's going to be good?
Teatro Lirico! I think they're ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's hear it one more time. Let's go racing!
Is here. It has been such a long time since the checkered flag fell in Fukuoka at the end of 2025, but we do begin the GT World Series in 2026 here in Milan in front of quite possibly the loudest crowd we have ever had. And this is an opportunity for manufacturers and for drivers to get their names on the scoreboard for the first time this season. Let's have a look and remind you how the grid is going to line up here at the Nordschleife. So it's Jose Serrano, reigning champions Porsche on pole position. Maximilian Kroll for Ferrari lines up on the front row. Nissan and Mikołaj Sejak lining up at the head of the second row, with Mercedes and Jack Bolding making his debut in P4. Then it's BMW Samuel Moreno in P5, with Lexus and Antonio Santos 6th on the grid. Next up is Mazda and Pol Jura. They struggled, didn't make it through into the top 6 shootout, with Hafidi and Volkswagen alongside. Then it's Audi, Kylian Drummond, new manufacturer for the Frenchman. Toyota have got Benjamin Hengsei behind the wheel for this season. Subaru's Callum Moxon lines up P11, and 12th and last on the grid is Miroslav Kravchenko for Lamborghini. Now, we know, of course, tyre strategy is something to mention in this one. The top 4 going for the medium tyres. Nobody opting for softs at the start of this one.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that people feel the need to use them at this point. We know it's a short-lived tyre, that Dunlop soft tyre, so I think maybe at this point it's just let's feel it out. You know, those who are at the back of the pack, I think, are maybe just hoping that they can make their way through, but there's no big strategic plays there, which means all the action, all the overtakes are going to happen on track.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you can see there, this is the calm before the storm now, really, for these drivers. They're sat there in the rigs, and I guarantee if we had a heart rate monitor on them, they would be beating out of their chest, because despite the fact that we've got some very experienced drivers in the GT World Series, that pressure, that tension, it all comes down to the performances out on track, and they know that this is the first opportunity for them to to go well, really, to get those points on the board, to start their season off in the right way and to hopefully help their teammates with the opportunity. Let's see what happens then as Manufacturers Cup 2026 begins here at the Nordschleife. Jose Serrano leads the field across the line, followed by Kroll, followed by Sedjak and Balding, etc. Then the hard shot runners of Moreno will be in the background. Let's see what they can do as we come down the Dottinger and head in towards the left-hander as we go over the rise. Will we see any changes for position? Because it's a very long straight, and look at that already, because you've got Sedjak attacking against Maximilian Kroll for second position. We flick it through the left-hander. Kroll does manage to hold on to P2 for now, but at the front of the race, it's Jose Serrano that leads for Porsche.
Yeah, really surprising to not see any big position changes there, given the nature of the run down to what was Garbenkopf now as we come backwards and sort of make our way slowly towards the Bell Fest. We're on board with Moreno in the BMW right now, and to be honest, at the moment there's not really anywhere to overtake for this section. Just try and get close to the car in front. At the moment, Balding and the top four, a little bit of a gap, and that's because they're on that medium compounder tyre. They're going to have a pace advantage early on in this race, so the closer Moreno and the rest of the hard runners can stay to the medium shod drivers, the better, as you watch Sedjak now in third position behind Kroll. What's been very quick in that Nissan GTR, but 6 laps here at the ring. It's going to be a challenge for even him.
Certainly is. On board we are then with Jack Balding as we flick it through this left and then the right-hander through the forest, but in the opposite direction. On board we are now here with the British driver, and as we said, qualifying is one thing. Doing it under racing circumstances, though, is completely different. You can see we're now rising up the hill as opposed to at this particular point when we would be dropping down it. Just a point to mention, by the way, whilst we're on the opening lap of action, we are experiencing a technical issue with the PlayStation account and GT7. It means the viewer campaign isn't working at the moment, but it's a work in progress. You can still watch and claim the gift even after the stream has ended. You've got a couple of weeks, so don't panic if you can't watch it from your PlayStation 5 at the moment. We will get that sorted and you will be rewarded as a result of it. But Jack Balding there, still in 4th place, still pretty static at the front of this race on this opening lap.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up now to what will be probably one of the overtaken zones. It'll be the run down towards Bergwerk after the carousel here. Let's see if these guys can get through here better than I did. They can, what a surprise.
It's almost like it's their job.
Yeah, it almost is. Yeah, very difficult way to put the car in there. Like I said, you're under a lot of load coming downhill there, and it's very easy just to get it wrong on the way in as we now come down towards what will be the mud curve at the bottom here. There is Serrano leading away. The gap up to almost a second, so he's almost getting out of slipstream range, which is a good indicator that the pace is there for Serrano and Team Porsche. Although I've got to say, Moreno and Santos there, the hard runners in the BMW and Lexus, doing a good job to stay within touching distance too. So that hard tyre may be a bit improved over what it was last year.
I suppose that's the name of the game, isn't it, really, when you're on that hard tyre at the moment, is damage limitation, really. If you can stick with the medium truck runners as best as you can. I mean, 6 laps doesn't sound like a long time. Here at the Nordschleife, as we said, about 45-minute race duration, all being well for the drivers. So those who are on the hard tyres, all from 5th place downwards, they've just got to make sure they're keeping touching distance of the cars in front, and they will be in a good position come the end of it, because, of course, they'll have quicker tyre compounds to run, in theory. So looking at Sedjak then, sitting in the wheel tracks here of Maximilian Kroll, and Sedjak, as I said, finished on the podium in Berlin last year. The Polish driver, let's see what he can do here for Nissan. They are the 2023 Manufacturers' Cup champions. Ferrari, they've never won a Manufacturers' Cup title. Last time they were on the podium was back in Prague in 2024.
Yeah, Sedjak getting very close there in the GTR, but this is where you have one of the challenges of driving around the ring here. It's just where do you pass? And when you do pass, you have to really throw it in. So here's Paul Ura. Bad qualifying, couldn't put him down in P7 for Team Mazda. What happened to him? Oh, just wide there, onto the grass. I'd love to tell you what corner that is, but I've got no idea from this perspective. And down to P9. So it goes to bad to worse. Actually now in P10 is Paul Ura. So really having a bad start to this race here this season in the Manufacturers' Cup for Team Mazda. Meanwhile, we go back on board with Sedjak, and both him and Kroll, I think, have closed up a little bit onto the back of Serrano now. So Serrano maybe not as quick as we first thought there, or maybe these guys keep a little bit extra in attack, but Sedjak now really starting to push Kroll along. I think he's starting to get a little bit impatient, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. We're coming in towards the first half of the traditional Nürburgring circuit, the second half as we look at it. Let's have a look at Jack Balding, Maximilian Kroll, and also Mikołaj Sedjak at the start of this race. And as this is coming down into the Dottinger Herd, you can see side by side there between the Ferrari and the Nissan. Sedjak looking for that move on the outside, but Kroll just about managing to cover him off at this particular point. We cross back to live racing action then here. So Sejak it is that's still in third position. He hasn't managed to find his way through on the German driver for now, but as you say, it's certainly signalling a statement of intent here, because he's all over the rear wing of that 296.
And Serrano now also back into it. So I thought maybe that this would be an easy run for Serrano, but the top three really close now. Sejak is starting to get a little bit impatient. Where do you pass it on this version of the circuit? I think maybe you can have a go up here. If you've got a slipstream, you see Kroll there putting out to try and not be in the draft for whatever reason. No BOP to try and hide here, but then now it's just free impress. Look at this, how close this is after almost a lap here at the ring, coming now down down the hill. Speed's really high at this point, and now you have to try and pick your braking point. You're braking uphill here, so you can brake quite late, but really easy to overdo it and end up on the curbs and then end up in the wall, like we saw Paul Euro did earlier on in the lap.
Wouldn't mind being in Jack Baldwin's cockpit at the moment. He's got box office seats to this trio of drivers in front of him as it stands for the time being. The top three, as you can see, separated by just about half a second or so as they head towards the end of this first lap. Now I wonder if we're going to get the hard shod runners coming in at the end of lap one and going on to either the medium or the soft compound tyres. That might be our first time we'll see a divergence in strategy as Sejak just brushes the grass on the outside there.
Mate, you don't get away with that very often at the ring, I tell you that. So Sejak there doing well to keep the car pointing the right way. And now we come back onto the GP circuit. So this might be traditionally the best place to pass if you're close enough. But you see Kroll and Serrano already sort of eking the gap out a little bit from Sejak behind. Balding is still there or thereabouts behind, so the top four all have pulled away, unsurprisingly, on that softer compounder tyre, the medium, softer than the hard. I know what I'm saying. It's a medium compounder tyre. And Moreno there leading the hard tyre runners. So, of course, all tyres must be used, the medium, hard, and the soft, and that will come into play a bit later on. Now, we use the cut through here, not the full GP circuit, which is a really tough corner from this angle, because on the exit, the road falls away from you. You end up going off into the grass on the outside. So there is our Dunlop tyre strategy down in the bottom left-hand corner there. The soft tyre, we think only good for one lap, and these mediums only for two. So Serrano's only going to have one more lap of pace at the front before having to choose which way to go.
Absolutely, and we have seen drivers bucking the trends of that in the GT World Series pretty much ever since day dot, so let's wait and see whether that strategy will prove to be the one that they'll follow, or whether we'll see anybody coming in at the end of this pit lane. Don't think it'll be the case for the medium tyres, because of course they're quicker than the hard shod runners that are out on them at the moment, so we'll come across the line. Serrano it is, of course, that will still lead with Kroll and Sejak, so they blast past the pit lane and head down towards the Dottinger Hill. We're coming towards the end now of this first lap. The gap to Moreno, the first of those hard shod runners, up to nearly 5 seconds, so you can just see how different it is in terms of the pace over the course of this lap, because especially where it's one at a time and there's all these medium speed corners, you're just eking out a tenth here, a tenth there, and that gap has built up quite significantly as we come to the end of that first tour here.
So here it is, probably the second opportunity to overtake here. A huge straight. Here comes the slipstream in action. Looking back there from Serrano, that Ferrari already starting to catch in the slipstream there. We'll have just a little bit extra, a little bit less air resistance. So the car now putting up to the back of the rear wing. Maybe he's close enough. Serrano is very heavily defending the inside here, but it might not matter. There goes Kroll, maybe up into the lead. Yeah, just about by up into the lead goes Kroll in Team Ferrari. So all it took there was a long straight, and now the home favourite, Team Ferrari, up into the lead, but only for now. Serrano is now glued to the rear end of that Ferrari, and we know he's not going to let him get away.
I tell you what, it does make things interesting though, because the Dottinger Hill, normally it's down halfway down that straight really, you see moves being made, but it's right towards the end of it, so you have to have a lot of commitment, especially going through that left-hander at the end of it. So good stuff from Kroll there, great from Jose Serrano. Decided not to fight that one too much, did he really? Tried to defend it on the inside, but he knows it's going to be in vain, such is the length of that Dottinger Hill straight. So now all he's got to do is sit there behind Kroll, hope that either the German driver makes a mistake here at this reverse Nordschleife layout, or Serrano can just maybe save a bit of tyres, save a bit of fuel at this early stage of the race, and just maybe work out where Kroll's weaker, because coming towards the end of it, that could prove to be the difference between, you know, winning and losing this one potentially.
Mate, you see Kroll climbing all over these curbs, and some of them, you know, I think maybe his luck might run out at some point. These curbs, they're very high here on the Nürburgring, and if you touch them in the wrong way, they tend to just spit you out. So Kroll there playing with fire, but that's the pace you need to bring to these competitions. You need to really use everything at your disposal which right now Kroll is trying to do to build a gap from the reigning champion, Jose Serrano.
Antonio Santos, meanwhile, has just dropped behind Kylian Drumont, so the Frenchman is up into 5th position. So clearly, Santos has made a mistake on that lap, or just been passed on the Dossier-Herd potentially. But yeah, half a second or so, relatively speaking, for the gap between Drumont and Santos. Maybe it's just an overtake there for position between those two drivers. But either way, good news there for Kylian Drumont. The gap, though, between the hard and the medium shot runners now up to 6.5 seconds here as we're on lap 2.
Yeah, we're looking really interesting strategic options opening up here for our drivers. I mean, I was just looking at Kylian Drumont there when you were chatting to me, Tom, and he's gained 4 places since the start of his race. So he is moving. So he is quick on that hard tyre. Maybe we don't see it particularly now because he's down in P5. But that Audi, he was saying it's quick. So here's a look back. Here is Drumont and Santos. Moreno there, just a sitting duck in a straight line, getting just split there by Santos and by Drumont. And you must think of Moreno, oh, God damn it. what can I even do about that?
Ricardo Zonta Simulator 2026, that's what that was. Look at this.
Brave Drumont was there.
Super commitment. Good also awareness from Santos just to give him that racing room on the inside. Fantastic from Kylian Drumont and also Antonio Santos. Sad there for Moreno, but it might come back to him a little bit later on. He's still sitting on the coattails of the Lexus in 7th place as it stands for now. Point to mention as well for the likes of Pol Ura and Miroslav Kravchenko. I actually shared the taxi with them from the airport over to the venue here in Milan yesterday and was chatting away to them, and they were saying that basically the cars that they're driving, the Mazda and the Lamborghini, not the fastest out there on track. They've struggled a bit with the balance of performance updates for 2026, and as such that's why they're a fair way off as it stands for now. They'll be hoping for a bit more fortune and hopefully a little bit more pace later on this year. Now, delighted to be able to welcome to the commentary box Nico Menzel. Nico, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, you know the Nordschleife very well. What do you make of it in reverse?
It's unbelievable. I almost do not recognize it anytime. But, you know, it's actually, now I can see there's a crazy track we're racing in. Because I think we are used to drive the normal Nordschleife. And now you can actually feel the quick corners, the craziness about the barriers being so close. And it's great. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the scariest part is the idea of coming down from Mudcove to Bergwerk at like 280 kph and having to stop at the end there. I just can't imagine that in real life. But and obviously, Gran Turismo here has a very accurate version of the ring, and you're very familiar with this Porsche here. I mean, did you find yourself using the simulators to try and prepare for these events?
Yeah, for sure. I also prepared myself for the 24. I mean, I'm used to drive this car on this track for many years, but still to get back in the rhythm, you know, after a while not being in the car is always helpful. And especially I practice the night, because the vision and then the night is obviously different. I also practiced the bad weather in the night, which is very special on this track. And honestly, it helped me a lot during the night, especially just getting in the rhythm quicker. And it's fairly crazy to see, you know, Arenberghofer and Schwedenkreuz should be easy flat out that way, but another good opportunity for an overtake now following all the way up to Flugplatz.
Yeah, you can see Serrano here sitting in the wheel tracks of Maximilian Kroll as we come over that crest of the hill. He's going to pull to the outside of the Ferrari then, so it's Ferrari versus Porsche, Serrano versus Kroll, and Serrano then with the outside line, which is going to flick to the inside line as they come over the crest and go into the left-hander, and the Spanish driver back through and into the lead once again. Fantastic commitment from Serrano and great driving also from Kroll.
It's so foreign to me seeing these guys go that quickly. Like, there's no exit there for the Flugplatz. It's so mad. I mean, obviously we had the 24 recently. Very interesting experience for everyone involved. I mean, how would you think if you have any advice to give these guys now? Of course, completely different experience, although maybe slightly similar. How would you? What advice would you give these guys driving on this circuit in this configuration?
I think it's about initial driving, really. Nordschleife requires a lot of initial driving skills, and I guess it's the same now going reverse. The trickiness, as you just said, is like, as now we can see the replay, slipstreaming all the way, using the side draft, also very important, and especially with Dittingen, but also here, it's not only the slipstream following a car, but also the side draft, because at some point it slows you even down, so you gotta actually move to the side at some point to avoid that wave of airstream. you do not have the exit curbs, right? I mean, the exit curbs are now on the entry, and you used to try to use them to prepare your car better into the corners. But not having the exit curbs makes it even more special. So stay more or less on the tarmac, I'd say.
That's a good tip. Stay on the tarmac. I like that.
So we're coming towards the end of this second lap now here, and I think we're going to start to see the pit stops coming through from these medium shod runners, because they're coming towards the end of their tyre life, really. According to the strategy that we saw on screen earlier on, about 2 laps is what we're expecting for the medium runners. So that would be Serrano, Kroll, Sejak and Balding all in to the end of the pit lane. Let's wait and see what they will do then, whether we'll see any changes further behind as well for those hard shod runners. Drumont's the gap now up to nearly 10 seconds between Balding and then the Frenchman. So in towards the pit lane we are about to go then, and surely we're going to see some drivers coming in, but the medium shod runners think they can get another lap out of it here then.
You know how this works by now, Tom. You get your strategy and it gets thrown out the window. Well, I don't know if there's like another pit lane or anything, because the start and finish line's in a different spot.
No, it's definitely the pit lane. It's the normal pit lane.
It isn't just like the TF car park or something.
Well, Eura's just come into the pit lane, to give you an idea.
All right,
there he is.
I don't know about you, Nico, but when I see this, I get like a shiver. I'm like, oh god, they're going the wrong way up the pit lane.
Honestly, all the time.
But that's interesting as well for the hard shod runners, because you've got, what, 4 or 5 drivers that haven't pitted there. Eura and Moxon, they've decided to try something differently here. So, I mean, that's a good thing for them in terms of they're now going to have a bit more pace here, Nico. But the problem is they're going to be on sort of more worn, softer compound tyres later on in the race.
Yeah, but I think like the medium guys, they could actually manage their race a bit better because they had more or less free air, especially the first 2 guys, not fighting that much, and you know, just trying to save the tire as much as they can to just have one stop in the end. So I think there is a bigger benefit in the end to probably go whatever, like 3-4 seconds a lap slower, but therefore you don't have to stop another time.
So looking at Kroll here then in second position. Serrano, as we know, of course, back through into the lead last time around. Look at the gap that the top 2 have now been able to build over Mikołaj Sejak then here. Just looking at the sort of difference in sector times, Kroll was actually fastest overall in the entire race on that first sector rather, I beg your pardon, of the lap. And that was about 1.8 seconds quicker than Sejak. So clearly, I think the Polish driver's made a mistake here.
Well, we can have a look actually. I mean, here's a replay of maybe why that was. So it's just after the Dr. Her here, and he comes for this very tricky Garmin Cup, it just grabs the grass and then the wool, and just so easy to do that anywhere on this circuit here. What I was going to say is that, plus maybe some other things, he does have a lot more tyre wear than the cars around him. That front right tyre is looking pretty second hand there for Sejak, and he's got to bring that now all the way around the circuit, which is now a anti-clockwise circuit, so that's going to be tough for Sejak.
Do you think there could be a legacy of the drivetrain layout? It's a front engine, rear drive car, obviously more weight of the front axle, that's causing the front tyres to scrub a bit?
For sure. I mean, once there is more force on the tire, it also gets stressed more. But maybe, probably, you're not in the rhythm as you are, going the right direction, and you overturn the car here and there. So I think it's all about managing the driving style. Just turn as much as you really need, and overturning the front means also you scrub the front, you overheat it a bit, and therefore front tire can also have a bigger drop in the end of the day. I think this part, honestly, is one of the most scariest, isn't it? Going all the way down and now into the carousel. Crazy.
Yeah, it's where I had my unceremonious crash earlier when I was trying to drive it. You go down and think, oh, okay, and the front's loaded in the weird way, you try and brake and nothing happens. You just go straight off into the woods. Obviously not ideal for our competitors, but turning into a bit of a 2-horse race now on the medium runners. It's Serrano and Kroll. Sejak is starting to maybe bring a little bit of that gap back. He actually had the fastest sector 5 of anyone the last sector they went through just then. So the pace is still there for the Nissan driver, but the damage is done there at that earlier incident.
Keep an eye out as well for Eura. The gap there, 17.5 seconds between himself and Hafidi. That's going to come down because, of course, he's now on a quicker compound tyre and a new compound tyre. So let's see what sort of inroad he's going to be able to make now he's in clear air. You can see Maximilian Kroll all over the rear wing once again here of Jose Serrano. This is where, of course, we're getting into the circuit now. Will open up as we head in towards the sort of second half of it. You can see Serrano there just taking a wider sort of V line through the corner, but Kroll all over the rear wing here of this Porsche. It seems like a case of when and not if he's going to try and attack. We're going to come over the crest of the hill. Serrano just able to defend. Kroll gets out of the throttle a little bit early, just biding his time at the moment.
How steep it is down there. You never realise it when you're going the other way up there, but you almost fall down.
17%, yeah, on that. on that occasion.
Ridiculous, 17%.
Steepest
Imagine
place
trying
in-
to break down that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So if you're Maximilian Kroll here, Nico, you're sitting in this position in P2. Do you think it's a case of attack, or would you be sitting there waiting?
Honestly, in this part of the track, you're more the waiter. You're trying to have, like, as he does now, 50 meters distance to the car ahead, because otherwise you just scrap your front tires and you destroy them. I mean, GT3 cars, it's a lot of dirty air, a lot of aerodynamics, and it's all about saving the tire for actually then the GP circuit to make benefit out of that, having a good front axle there, and there you can overtake better. And it was in the grass there.
Yeah. Serrano just pushing the envelope here. He's got to come into the pit lane at the end of this lap, surely. I mean, those front tyres and the rears actually now are going to start crying out as we get already to the halfway stage of this race here at the Nordschleife. As you said, pretty much a two-horse race at the front, Jimmy. 2.7 seconds they've now got over Mikołaj Sedgwick. Just a point on Pol Jura. Gap was about 17.5 seconds. It's already down to under 16 seconds now.
Well, I mean, the question that's sort of being posed to us now, you think about it, these guys have made the medium tyre last another lap. Is that Dunlop soft tyre also going to last another lap? So, I mean, we tend to find that the name of the game is to just don't use the hard tyre. Hard tyre is lava. It has to be used, but it's just very slow. But we're seeing that on the other end of the spectrum there. Some of these guys are trying to take that hard tyre for as long as possible. So I wonder if that is just not the play, because that tyre at this point hasn't worn that much compared to theirs. We see another fight for the lead here. Here comes Kroll, cruising back by Serrano. I never thought that would be an overtaking zone, but it seems to be our most overtaking zone of the race so far. Yeah, to the delight of the Italian crowd here in Milan as well. They'd like seeing a Ferrari go through for the race lead here.
It's unbelievable, the crowd, honestly. I've barely seen something like it. I'm really...
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's amazing. It really is genuinely the loudest I think we've ever had in the GT World Series. So we're coming towards the end of the Nordschleife layout, as it were. We're going to be heading in towards the pit lane before long with these race leaders. Hengse there been given a warning for colliding with another car. Where's he? P8 at the moment in that Toyota. Different manufacturer for Hengse. And we'll see how he's going to fare over the course of this season. But so far, it's not been a particularly brilliant start to their year. They, of course, are former champions, but the pace, clearly the BOP, not working out for them at this early stage of 2026.
At that stage now, it's very important to be close to the competitor in front, because you know you're going to enter the GP circuit right now. So now it all opens up. It's a wider track, and now you have opportunities to overtake. So you're going to push all the way, like the last 1-2 kilometers before you actually enter the GP circuit, to be in a good overtake position, which did not really work out because the Ferrari had actually better traction out of the Vidal chicane.
Let's have a look here at Moreno and Santos then. This is in the battle for P6 in the race. Down the Dottinger Her, Moreno there using the slipstream to his advantage quite nicely and getting through on the Lexus.
But that's also the side draft effect. You see, now the car on the left actually regains some ground, and seeing like onboard sitting here, he should have actually moved to the right to be in a better position and to not give him that comeback on the straight. So it's not only slipstream but also side draft, really.
So coming towards the end of the lap, we're about to go then with Kroll, Serrano, Sedgwick and Balding. Surely they're going to have to pick, because those medium tyres are going to be absolutely crying for mercy now at this point. You can see there, especially for Sedgwick and Balding, those front tyres, of course, front engine rear wheel drive cars for both the Nissan and the AMG. They are in a much worse state than the top two, as they do then jink over to the left-hand side, and they will come in for their first pit stop in the race so far. Now, which way are they going to go in terms of tyres? Do they go for the hard tyre, try and do one lap on those, and then try and extend the softs as long as they possibly can? Of course, they did one lap longer than we were expecting them to do on the medium tyres at the start of this one. And does everybody else follow suit? So Kroll and Serrano go onto the soft tyre then here. Sedgwick and Balding going for the hard tyre.
So for Sedgwick and Balding now, they're going to have to just do their best to try and get this hard tyre through the next lap as quick as possible. I have to think that soft tyre is capable of doing 2 laps. We will see now. I mean, this is the first time someone's used a soft in this race. But keep an eye on their tyre wear. That must be the play, surely.
Well, keep an eye out as well for the likes of Drummond, Santos, etc. All of those drivers who were on the hard tyre, they've now pitted onto the medium competitive tyre. The gap, 15 seconds before those pit stops. So surely they're going to be taking that time out of them hand over fist.
One interesting scenario, though, you box quite a bit before the start-finish line. So you have to really think about that when making the play. It might also mean that you could use your hard tyre before coming to the end of a lap, because surely you can box in the last lap, put on the hard tyre and just run to the lap. With that, you have to use it once. Doesn't say one lap though, does it?
It's true. It's a very good point. What do you think?
Well, that's how I think Michael Schumacher won the race.
Yeah.
20 years ago in F1.
Oh, yeah, in Silverstone.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a look then at the race lead, changing hands between Jose Serrano and Max Kroll then. So the Spaniard now back through in the Porsche. This battle continues to rain on. They flick it through into that left-hander, taking absolutely no liberties on the soft tyres on this outlap.
They have to push this now. This is a push tyre. You have to go as quick as possible, make the most of it. You can see the car shuffling as it goes over the bumps and all the little crests there. And these two, what performance from Kroll? You know, a relatively unknown driver for us, but he is hustling one of the greatest GT drivers of all time in Jose Serrano. So really good performance for him and Team Ferrari so far.
Well, Nico, we must let you go and watch the race with the rest of this Italian crowd here. Thank you so much for joining us in the commentary box. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing what happens over the remainder of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Have fun, guys, and yeah, it's going to be a good final, I think.
Cheers. Nice one. Cheers, fella. Thank you very much indeed. So, Jack Boulding, we now ride on board with then in the wheel tracks of Mikołaj Sejak's Nissan. Over the crest of the hill we go, flicking it through into the right-hander. Both these drivers on the hard compactive tyre. You can see Pol Ura, he's at a position now at this point. He's on the medium compactive tyre, having pitted a lap or so sooner. He's made good ground up into P5. He's going to have Drummond bearing down on him, though, before too long, because he's about 3.5 seconds behind the Spanish driver in that Mazda for now. So let's keep an eye out and see how this will work, because Ura is in that position where, as I said, he's out of sequence, so he's going to have slower pace than the soft-shod Drummond, but also those tyres are going to be wearing out quite quickly here. So let's see how it goes here for Pol Ura, and also crucially for Kylian Drummond. That gap down to, what's it now, 8 seconds. It was, I think it was 15 according to our timing screen prior to the pit stop.
I'll let you be the keeper of Pol Ura time there, Tom. I've been looking elsewhere, so that's your one there. But as you say, tyre wear now is essential for the guys at the front, because they have to push this tyre as much as possible to try and defend from these guys who are going slower right now on that hard compactor tyre. But it's all the strategy is going to become clear at the end of this lap, basically. So we will just have to wait and see, and hopefully they can get through in one piece. Here's Kylian Drummond, so someone who's on the soft tyre. He's made up a lot of positions so far, currently up 3 from his starting position in that Audi, and looking quick as well. So just a poor qualifying session from him, really. That really hindered him at the start there.
Yeah, well, of course, he's changed manufacturers. He's gone from Subaru, spent many years with them, won the title in the Manufacturers' Cup back in 2022, let's not forget. And I spoke to him last night. I said, you know, what was the idea behind changing from Subaru? You've been with them for so long. He said, I just think the Audi's got more potential. I've tried it out in testing. I've been doing loads of laps with it, and I think it is going to be the car to beat. So he clearly is confident with that. The results haven't materialised so far in qualifying, but now he's doing this alternative strategy. Is this going to be what will bring the Frenchman into at least the fight for the top 5 and to get some points on the board in this opening round of the season?
Yeah, I mean, what a place to do this for the first time here at the ring. These guys, fresh from the winter, having their time off. Like, oh, a nice, easy way to get back into the GT World Series. Nope, never going reverse. And some have adapted better than others. Unfortunately, Kravchenko for Team Lamborghini, we've not really spoken about him. It's because he's just unfortunately been nowhere in the race. He's about 30 seconds behind the nearest competitor there, really struggling. So not the start that Team Lambo would have wanted to this World Series in the Manufacturers' Cup, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, nice to see him on the international stage, Miroslav Kravchenko. Lovely chap, actually. And unfortunate for his start to the season, and indeed the team start to the season so far. But, as you say, 35 seconds off the back of the field at the moment. So clearly he's had some kind of an incident, maybe hit the wall or something along the lines of that. Now, Kylian Drummond, the gap was about 3 seconds or so earlier on in the lap. It's now down to 2.1 seconds. It's a case of when and not if that Audi is going to launch an attack here on Pol Ura's medium-shod Mazda. Let's have a look at some battles going on then here between Serrano and Kroll. So we saw Serrano back through on Maximilian Kroll, but he ran it a bit wide there, just through the left-hander off onto the grass. That's about as close of a warning sign as you're going to get.
I mean, it just goes to show around here, and you really can't make any mistakes, because any small offline mistake and you just find yourself immediately in the grass. And luckily Serrano was able to avoid the barrier there, but that has allowed Kroll to get right back onto the rear spoiler there of the Porsche driver. And we know that run up from Arenberg up towards the Flugplatz, that is now the run for the change of position. So here is Kroll, and bear in mind these guys will be doing little dress rehearsals as well for that final lap. Is it a good idea to pass here, or do I wait for the back straight? And the thing is, the start-finish line is actually not that far into the Dottinger Her, so I think this is going to be probably where we see our pass for the win at some point. Here comes Kroll again. He's done this one before. He'll do it again. Ferrari back up into the lead as we come into the Flugplatz, and I wonder now what's going through their head in terms of strategy. Tyre wear-wise, I do not think they can do more than 1 lap on this tyre. It has to be 2 on the hard, but you know, these guys, if anyone's going to prove us wrong, it'll be these guys.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Just a point actually about Miroslav Kravchenko. I said he was quite a way off the back of the field. He actually hasn't pitted yet in this race. He started on the hard tyre. He is still on the hard tyre. So forgive me for that small indiscretion, but we'll wait and see whether Kravchenko is just trying something different, whether it will close him onto the back of the field. I think points are going to be fair way off of it for the German driver, but Kilian Drumont is the man on the move at the moment. Now 1.2 seconds off the back of Pol Ura's Mazda. That gap has slowly been coming down over the course of this one, and likewise Ura has also been breaking into the deficit of Balding in front of him. It was, as I said, about 8 seconds or so the last time we checked, now down to 5.2 seconds. The medium tyre, as we saw at the start of this race, about 2.2 quicker around this Nordschleife circuit than the hard tyre. So Sedjak and Balding could be coming under pressure before the end of the next lap here.
Yeah, I mean, like in the real world, this Audi is a very nervous car. Short wheelbase, mid-engine as well. But Drumont doing a very good job to make it look easy at the moment as he slowly reels in Pol Ura in that Mazda. Pol Ura, of course, another very quick driver from Spain. We've got a pair of them here, and himself and Serrano. Kroll actually a little bit of a gap now, half a second towards Serrano, and they are coming round now to think about making their pit stop. So I do wonder. I mean, I'm looking at we have access to tyre wear here. We can see a little bit of that on our end, and it's a lot of the soft tyres are already down at about 50%. So here is our Dunlop pit stop prediction there. I don't think we're going to see more than 1 lap on that soft top.
That's a tricky thing, isn't it? You could try and eke it out, but if you do, they are going to be screaming in pain at the end of that penultimate lap. And ultimately, that's going to, I think, cost you more time than you will lose with another lap on what would be the hard compound of tyre then for those two drivers at the front at this point in the race. And indeed, they come straight into the box. No surprise there at all. So hard tyres to the end of the race for Kroll and Serrano. Sedjak and Balding, of course, they are doing something different. They started on the they're going to be on the soft tyre, aren't they, in fact, at the end of the race, because they went for the hard tyre in the middle stint. So that could bring them right into play in terms of closing that gap down. I don't know if it's going to be enough for them to be within striking distance, but never say never in the world of Gran Turismo. Either way, all three soft job runners, Kroll as well as Serrano and Drumont, all into the box. They go on to medium tyres for Drumont and hard tyres for the top two.
Now, this is interesting because they've come out in traffic with Moxon as well, who's on some fairly worn medium tyres, but we'll see what that pace differential is. And for Kroll and Serrano, ideally they're ahead of Moxon, but if Moxon gets ahead, that's really going to ruin their race plan. I mean, we had Nico here in the booth a second ago. He was saying that clean air is super important around here. You have space in front of you, so right now that's okay. It looks like that Subaru is actually starting to fall off at the back there. We've always known historically it's not been the quickest in a straight line. Serrano there making his move back up into 6th position, and we think maybe the aggregate lead of the race. But this is where this race is going to start to get interesting, because Sedjak and Balding, they owe a stop at the front on that hard compound tyre, but they've got that clear air now. Then on the last lap, they're going to have a soft tyre, and they're going to be rocking. So I think on circuit, it's going to have to be an overtake on circuit for it to work out, but this is the way you have to get your calculators out. It gets very complicated.
Well, let's have a look at the gap. What's it, 15 seconds, 15.2 seconds between Serrano and Sedjak as it stands for now. Both those drivers are on the hard compound of tyre. Serrano and Kroll were in the race lead. That's what we expect at the moment to be that race lead. They are now starting to pull away from Moxon, which is good news, because the last thing that Serrano and Kroll needed to do is start getting involved in a fight, start squabbling amongst one another, bring them back into Moxon's sort of wheel tracks, if you like, allow him to have a dive up the inside, and then it costs them time, because at the end of the race they could lose position once those final pit stops have worked out for the leaders at the moment of Sedjak and Balding. So on board we are then here with Kroll, and so him and Serrano, basically they've got to work together. They're tied here at this point until it comes to the point where they're not, right at the very end of this race, but they've got to play it so smart over this next lap and a half or so.
Well, I mean, you say that, I'm a driver. I understand sometimes that you aren't very smart when you're driving. You see the guy in front of you, you think, you know what, I can have him, I'm quicker, I should be the one leading this train. And that's where it gets maybe a little bit tricky, but they've been playing nice so far, these guys. There's been no silliness, but yeah, Max doing a good job in that Ferrari. Very quick, and we've not really seen Ferrari at the sharp end properly like this for a while. Proper contender here. So I know it's been a lot of suffering for Ferrari fans across the world, but maybe this is your year. Maybe.
Hey, we'll wait and see how it works out. Just looking at the gap again between Sejak and Serrano, it's actually increased up to now 16.3 seconds, and Kroll all over the rear wing of the 911 as we come through into the carousel. You can't go 2 by 2 through there. You can see Kroll modulating that throttle as he tries to get the power down as soon as he possibly can. And as we come through in towards the left-hander, it's still as you were between the German and the Italian manufacturer for now. See them there on the bottom corner of your screen. Serrano on the left and then Kroll on the right-hand side of your picture.
I've got to say, special mention there to Moxon, currently in 8th position, doing such a good job there. This is someone that only really used a gamepad until now, and now is moving over to the wheel and doing well on it. It's a hard transition to make, so yeah, good job there for Moxon in BA.
Yeah, and a particularly big transition to jump onto the international stage here in the GT World Series with a very loud and passionate crowd behind you. It is a proper assault on the senses, and fair play to Callum Moxon sitting there in P8 in that Subaru. Let's see whether some points could be on offer for that manufacturer later on this season. Meanwhile, Kroll there again on the attack against the Porsche driver of Jose Serrano. Serrano again defending that line as we come through and flick it into the left-hander. We're heading in towards the sort of overtaking zone as we've found out over the course of this race so far, and you wonder whether Kroll is going to launch a move here on Jose Serrano. He's starting to look a little bit impatient, moving that car left, moving it right, and trying out a few different lines here.
I mean, I think the Kroll is faster because he's just stuck to the rear end of Serrano. I mean, there is a little bit of a draft you get from the car in front, but not this much. And I think that the reason that Kroll is so close is just he just has a quicker package right now. But Serrano, of course, ever the champ, just knows where to place his car, knows the strategy he needs to do to keep himself in the lead. But he's going to need all that experience now, all that skill, if he's going to keep this aggregate lead here from Kroll. So coming up now, well, this is Calvin Hart, but reverse as we now come down towards what is Admiral Force. Say hello to the Rebel Tree on the right-hand side. Hello, Rebel Tree, hope you're doing well. And we move now down to where Kroll will be starting to think, okay, we are on the second to last lap. I know where I can pass him, but can he pass me back if I'm leading there? It becomes a bit of a chess game here, which feels a bit ridiculous when these guys are navigating you know, a half marathon each lap of corners. It's insane.
Yeah, that gap had stabilised at about 16.2 seconds. It stayed roughly about the same over the course of the lap so far. You can see Kroll there just feathering the throttle, such as the overspeed that he's got here on Jose Serrano. And is he going to launch a move into the left-hander? Not quite at the moment, but again, he's there ready for the taking, ready to pounce as we come through that left-hander.
Sorry, Tom, Serrano there was actually sideways on the exit, so really pushing the Porsche. So here comes Kroll, he's going to draft all the way up the hill now, so has the overspeed of Serrano in front. Serrano goes to the inside to defend all he can really do. Kroll goes around the outside. We've seen this move many times already, and Kroll back ahead of Serrano. That puts him, of course, in firing range for the Dot-on-Your-Her in about a minute or so's time. So what Kroll really needs to do here is just try and make a gap on that GP circuit, try and get away. So obviously he's been saving a little bit behind Serrano here. Tyre-wise, they're looking quite similar, but if there's anywhere to push, he needs to push on that GP circuit. He needs about a second and a bit, I think, to stay away from Serrano. And right now, Serrano, likewise, is glued to the back of that Ferrari. So this fight is going to go down to the wire if it stays like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sejak and Boulding, as we know, of course, they're on the alternate strategy on that hard compound of tyre as it stands for now. So don't discount them from this one. Let's see whether that proves to pay dividends for them. But as I say, I still think Kroll and Serrano, I just think they're working quite nicely at this particular point. They're not costing each other too much time. They're not tripping over each other corner by corner. They're not sending one or firing one on the outside. Sejak, meanwhile, has picked up a penalty. Red dot flashing next to his name. presumably that's track limits, because we didn't see anything coming up on screen saying that anything's under investigation. So maybe he's just ran over a curb and been a bit too greedy, but either way that could drop him behind Balding here.
So he's done that just after the penalty line. So where is it? It's coming onto the GP circuit. It must have been a chicane here. Yeah, just maybe taking a bit too much inside of the white line. And this is usually where you serve the penalty, right here. But he was awarded it just afterwards, so that means he's going to have to serve that penalty on the last lap. So any fight he's in, he needs about a second around him to survive that. So that's really going to change the landscape of this race. But it just shows you how hard he's pushing at the front there just to try and make that time up.
They're just about to come into the pit lane here as well, Jimmy. So Sejak and Balding are about to come in. Likewise, Jura, Hengsei and Moreno, who were, as we said, a little bit out of sequence earlier on in this one. So we'll see what it looks like between Jose Serrano and Kroll as they come through this final sector. Then they do not owe another pit stop in this race, just to remind you, as it stands for now. So Sejak in, Balding in, as well as Pol Jura, Hengsei and Moreno. So 2 hard shot and 3 medium shot runners, and look at it, a plethora of soft tyres, which is going to be such a headache for the likes of Kroll and Serrano at this one. They're going to be on the hard tyres right now to the end, and is it going to leave them vulnerable on this final flying lap, or are we going to see the top 2 still battling amongst one another for victory? So through into the left-hander we go, back onto the Nordschleife for the penultimate time. It's Kroll that leads from Jose Serrano, half a second, but what's the gap to the likes of Sejak and Balding? That's the important one. 10.5 seconds. Of course, Sejak, as we know, has got that half-second penalty. It's not insurmountable, because it's about 6.6 seconds over the course of a lap is what we reckon the delta is between the hard and the soft tyre. So that could bring Sejak and Balding right into play in the closing stages of this one. Eyes, though, on the front of this race, and eyes on Jose Serrano blasting to the inside, down the dust on Max Kroll as we come in towards the left-hand and the Porsche once again is through on the Ferrari into the lead.
You know, Max is probably going to allow that, because he's not thinking about this pass here. He's thinking about the pass up towards the Flugplatz in about a lap's time, or half a lap's time. So this is where now they need to keep his cool. If you're Jose Serrano, you've got to push now. You've got to try and make a gap. We've seen that this Ferrari has the legs in a straight line, so Serrano needs to use every bit of cornering performance from that Porsche in front there to try and get away. But what an impressive performance here from Max Kroll in that Ferrari. Doing so well here, and yeah, I mean, really showing that Ferrari can fight at the top.
I was just about to say, Drumont's done really well to get himself into 4th place, but Balding's just managed to mug him on those soft tyres at the end of this one. So Drumont, he's got, what, 5 seconds over Pol Jura. That might be enough for him to hold on to a top 5 finish and bag a couple of points for Audi in his debut for that team. But Max Kroll, we're on board with him then here. 10 seconds the deficit down to Sejak, so they might be okay if they don't squabble too much over the course of this lap. If they start knocking 7 bells out of each other, it might allow Sejak to close the gap down and maybe launch something towards the end of it. But as it stands for now, it's Ferrari and Porsche that are battling for victory.
They just don't have the speed, Sejak, right now. He needs to really just up his game, to be honest. 9 seconds is a lot around here, and I don't think he's going to catch unless he really has a mega lap or these guys start fighting. Saying that, the gap is coming down, so never say never. We know how quick Sejak is in that Nissan, but he does have that penalty to contend with as well, that flashing red dot for a track limit warning he picked up at the end of the last lap. So it's got to be huge here from Team Nissan. But Serrano and Kroll, these guys have been just tied together for the entire race, it feels like. It's been awesome viewing here as Serrano really pushing now down towards the carousel. Really easy place to get things wrong, of course, if you saw from my footage a bit earlier on, as the sun begins to set here, and Kroll really attacking the entry of the carousel here, right onto the back of that Porsche. Familiar sight for him, but what a great fight this has been so far.
What a great job as well from Max Kroll. Let's not forget, this is his debut in the GT World Series. Let's have a look at Balding and Drumont. We saw they were under investigation for a collision earlier on. There's Sejak up in front with the penalty. Through the mini carousel we go. Balding just gives a little tap to the rear. He's going to slide his way to the inside. I think that's okay, to be honest with you. Bit of rubbing, bit of racing, and a bit of confusion. But either way, Balding through on the Frenchman in the Audi for 4th place for now. But Serrano and Kroll, the drivers that we've got our eyes on at the sharp end of this one, with just over half a lap to go here in the first race of the Manufacturers' Cup in 2026. And Kroll looking aggressive, looking menacing on the outside there of the Porsche, but no way through for now.
These two guys absolutely rocketing down towards Bergwerk now. Speeds of 270 plus kph. The front brake discs there glowing the force of trying to slow these cars down to that part of the circuit. Serrano, his mirrors full of Ferrari. Max Kroll has really shown the pace of this thing as we now come to what is realistically the last few places to look at overtake now. If you're Max Kroll, we know where he likes to try and do this. He's waiting for his run out of Arenberg up towards Flugplatz, but he needs to be close for that to work. He can't let Serrano get away. And right now, he's basically pushing the Spaniard along. This must be such a weird feeling for Serrano. He's been dominant over the last couple of events here, and now he's really being made to work for it. We love to see it here, of course, in the GT World Series. Our first round of the Manufacturers' Cup Grand Final coming to a head here with only half a lap to go at the ring.
Well, we saw that Max Kroll is in the final year of his apprenticeship at the moment, and he's certainly earning his stripes in his apprenticeship in the GT World Series. This being his first event on the debut stage, he's all over the back of the old hand of Jose Serrano, looking for a way through, but Serrano blocks the line, holds the apex for now. We come through the left, then we come through the right. We're going to start the circuit beginning to open up as we head into the next series of it. And are we going to see Kroll being able to launch an attack? Will Serrano be able to defend any form of attack from the Italian driver? And of course the Italian crowd here in Milan, let's not forget, they would love to see a Ferrari taking the victory.
Such is the pace of these two, is that Sejak's only really managed to gain about a second on that soft compound tyre over the hards. These guys pushing really, really hard right now. And now if you are Max Kroll, you are thinking, right, okay, here is my chance to strike. What do you do though as Jose Serrano up the hill to defend this? I think you just have to sit in the middle of the road and hope maybe to make things difficult. You can't intentionally block here, but whatever happens now, we're about to get our answer.
So through into the left-hander we go then. Serrano it is that leads. Maximilian Kroll hunting him down then, trying to fight for victory, fight for Ferrari's first top step of the podium since 2024. Serrano, of course, the reigning champion with that Porsche team, would love to continue where they left off at the end of 2025. Let's see, though, how it is all going to work out. On board we ride here with Max Kroll. Serrano defending the line to the inside, forcing Kroll to the outside. Side by side they go, and Serrano does manage to hold on to the race lead for now, but has Kroll got anything left in his pocket? Can he launch an attack and a retaliation on his way through the next series of corners? Again in the slipstream, he looks to the inside, but Serrano defends that line, holds the apex and holds the race lead as we head and blast towards the GP circuit for the last time.
I thought we were going to see a huge crash there, Tom. He really had to go on the outside there, but Serrano obviously just waiting. I think he backed him up there on the apex and then just got away because Kroll was nowhere near where he was previously. And the result of that now is Serrano is still ahead and he's rapidly running out of chances to make this move for the lead. But that is experience. That is someone who's won the championship before, who's won Manufacturers and Nations Cup. You're never going to have an easy time racing Jose Serrano there, and Max Kroll finding that out the hard way.
So let's see how it works out as we head on towards the Grand Prix circuit for one more time. Of course, they'll go on to the Dottinger Höhe. That's where the finish line is. They clip their way over the curb. Serrano it is that still leads, 0.3 of a second in his pocket, and it's so difficult to fire one through on the inside here. There's not really an opportunity for Max Kroll. He's in the slipstream here. He's closing that deficit down, but he's not going to be there to launch one on the inside of the Porsche as we flick it through the left and then the right-hander. He needs to try and pressure Jose Serrano into a mistake, but we know that the wise old head of the Spaniard, relatively speaking to the young pretender of Max Kroll, he is so calm under pressure here is Jose Serrano, and he is soaking it up like a sponge.
A much better line up there for Kroll and Serrano, but we come into the arena section now and really you're running out of opportunities to make this move. You have maybe one last lunge into the hairpin if you're feeling very brave, but we know Serrano's going to cover that. On board with Max Kroll now, you sense a little bit of desperation from the German driver in the Italian branded Ferrari as we come into now the last real proper overtaking zone. Looks maybe to go into the back of him, no, not quite there, and now it's a run up the straight and to the Dottinger Höhe. Sejak and Balding fighting behind, but I just don't think, Tom, there's enough time left.
No, Serrano got a really, really strong exit out of that final corner in particular, well, relatively speaking, as we come on to the second but last straight then here at the Nürburgring, and Serrano is going to be under pressure here from Kroll, but we flick it through the left, we flick it through the right. He needs to hope for a mistake from the Spaniard as we blast on towards the Dottinger Höhe for the final time. So it's Serrano versus Kroll. It's Porsche versus Ferrari for not the first time that we've said in the Gran Turismo World Series. And as we head toward the timing line, which of these two drivers is going to win it? Will it be the reigning champion or will it be the young pretender? As we get ready to take the checkered flag here, Serrano pulls to the inside as Kroll slipstreams him, and to take the checkered flag, there's contact over the line, and Serrano wins it for Porsche. A phenomenal drive from the reigning champion to continue where they left off at the end of the 2025 season. It's the Spaniard and the German manufacturer on top, ahead of the German in the Italian car here at the Nordschleife, and Balding in the Mercedes AMG will take a podium on his debut in the GT World Series. Also, a fantastic drive, calm, composed and controlled. As you said, Jimmy, there is no substitute for experience.
You have to think that Kroll just lost that on the last lap. I think he had every chance to beat Serrano there, but maybe just didn't position his car in the right way coming out of Arenberg, and that was his place to overtake. That was his place to make that move, and just couldn't quite get it done. But great to see Serrano there, still hungry, and just always the man to beat. Of course, as we said, big congratulations to Jack Balding as well on his debut, straight away on the podium for Team AMG. Strong start there for the German manufacturer, seeing them come back into the fray as well. But really, the story today was about two people and two brands, Serrano and Kroll, and Porsche and Ferrari. A great battle there throughout the race.
Amazing job from Jose Serrano and Maximilian Kroll. Fantastic to kick off the GT World Series in 2026 with such a strong battle. There's Valerio Gallo, former Nations Cup champion. He'll be hoping to do the business in a couple of hours' time when we get our first race underway there. But, well, I have to say, for Jose Serrano, you just saw that experience coming to the fore there. He could anticipate what Kroll was going to do, what he'd have been doing in those shoes, and he was able to cover it off so nicely. This is how the race started then. It was Jose Serrano from Kroll on pole position. We saw an early mistake from Pol Ura in the Mazda, who would eventually come over the line in 5th position. So a nice recovery job after a difficult start to the race. But, well, the story of it at the sharp end was between the German and the Spaniard.
Yeah, I mean, these guys were inseparable for the entire race, and I really thought that we would see Kroll maybe take it to Serrano on the last lap there. But early on, it was just, I think they're just kind of feeling each other out a little bit, trying to work out what's going on. You see there, Serrano there making the move onto the penultimate lap there, or onto the last lap, sorry, against Kroll, and just wanting to set the pace. That's something that we've seen from Serrano a lot, is he wants to try and lead from the front and set the pace. And they're doing so there, and just very expertly moving his car. And so close at the line, there's contact over the start-finish line. The gap at the end, only 0.06 of a second. Ridiculous finish.
Listen to the crowd. They absolutely love that. To see Ferrari onto the podium, and regardless of the fact they didn't take the win, that is still their first rostrum since Prague in 2024. So it's been a long time coming for that manufacturer. The 296 working very nicely, but it wasn't enough to depose Jose Serrano and Porsche from taking top honours once again in the GT World Series as they win here in Milan, ahead of Kroll, ahead of Jack Balding, the debutant, the Briton on the rostrum for AMG. Sejak did manage to get 4th place after that penalty cost him on that final lap. Pol Ura recovered to P5 ahead of Kilian Drumont, who managed to get the better, just a 10th of a second actually separating Ura and Kilian Drumont right at the checkered flag. They are your top 6 as the race stands here for now. But let's go down and catch up with our winner, Jose Serrano for Porsche.
Well, we're back, baby, apparently, Jose. Well done. Give him a round of applause. That was amazing stuff. Now, of course, 2025, it was your year. That felt like a new kind of pressure. Did that feel like Miazano was breathing down your neck?
Yeah, I had a good rival right now. All the race with Max, in front of me, behind me. During the race, I thought, Max, you can do a mistake or something.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Nah,
You're new.
I'm
What are you doing?
I'm joking. So congrats to him. He deserved the win as well. So, yeah.
Il 2025 è stato ovviamente il suo anno, una gara incredibile, ha lottato con Max continuamente, gli fa anche i complimenti. Congratulations, that was an amazing race. I want to ask you, Nürburgring reverse, first time, how did you feel that?
I really like it.
Yeah.
It's strange because you know the Nordschleife normal, the original layout, but the Nürburgring reverse is so funny to drive.
So you enjoy so much.
Yeah.
Gli è piaciuto molto guidare al contrario, si è visto, devo dire, si è visto.
I mean, I thought there'd be a lot more mistakes, actually, and it was pretty good. I mean, you had a little bit of grass, just a touch, just a couple of tires.
I
on the
had
grass
a lot
there.
of moments, but I saved it.
Oh, well, we didn't see it. You seem very strong, but okay. So obviously, Max is brand new. This is like first time out. Is this a new rivalry? Is this the new rivalry? You and Max, what do you think?
The rival is all the drivers, so we're here the best driver in the world, so all the drivers are rivals.
But fresh talent, they're coming for you, Jose. You got to keep up with it.
Giustamente Jules gli ha detto guarda che hai un nuovo rivale, Max, e lui fa no, guarda che i rivali sono tutti perché questi sono i migliori piloti del mondo, quindi farei un applauso perché è veramente incredibile.
Let's go back up now to Tom and Jimmy.
Well, thank you to Brian and to Jose Serrano as well, the winner of GT World Series 1 here in Milan. What a fantastic way to kick off the year, and I really enjoyed that. It does feel a bit like there could be a changing of the guard on the way to soon. I don't want to speak too soon, but that was really impressive from a couple of rookies, both on the podium.
I mean, maybe there's like an attempted change of the guard, but Serrano's like, nope, sit down. And there is a reminder there. Porsche there taking full points here at round 1, 6 points. Great start for them, of course, to maybe retain their Manufacturers' Cup crown. Ferrari there, great start from them with Proll for 5 points, and AMG they were bolding in 4. Nissan, Mazda and Audi picking up the rest of them, and Drummond there in the Audi had a good recovery in the end there. It was a bit of a change for him. You must wonder, is he going to be happy with that change, do you think?
Well, I mean, if you look at where Subaru were, then you have to say that surely that is vindication, as it were. Don't forget to vote for your Dunlop driver of the day, by the way. Is it Jose Serrano? Is it Max Kroll? Or is it Kylian Drummond? Let us know. It's all on YouTube. And, well, the winner will get the good feeling inside their heart. We might try and find a cap for them at the back or something as well.
Well, I mean, also those 70-odd% of people who predicted Serrano are having a great time right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got a million credits
They've got
in the
a
back
million
pocket.
more credits to go buy whatever the hell they want.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, really exciting way to kick off the season there, as we said, and a great job also from Pol Euro, I have to say, especially P5 for him in that Mazda. After being off track on the opening lap, near enough the first corner, that was a really strong recovery, given the fact he didn't really fancy a particularly good result this weekend anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good recovery. As you say, like, it's not really what we expect from Pol Euro. We expect him to be on that podium minimum. So for him, that's going to be a bit of a failure. But recovery was nice, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he'll be happy with it.
And if you look at some of the other manufacturers, do you think there's going to be particular disappointment for, I don't know, if you look at the likes of Subaru, Lexus, former champions, Lexus down in 11th at the end of that?
I mean, BMW definitely. I mean, they're down in 8th there. We're not used to seeing them really down in 8th position. As you say, Subaru, they've been past champions, but just not really having that pace. It's a hard one to gauge because this circuit is a very specialised circuit. That might suit some cars better than others. So, you know, we've got rounds to go yet. It's all to play for still.
It is, yeah. Let's not forget, of course, points awarded down to 6th place, as we said, but it will be a new series of drivers as we get ready for the second World Series event later on this year as well. So that, again, is going to change things completely. Well, anyway, we know how it has all worked out here in Milan for the opening round of the GT World Series in the Manufacturers' Cup. Let's go and celebrate the top 3 on the podium. Well, the drivers making their way onto the stage in 3rd place for AMG, making his debut in the GT World Series from the UK, it's Jack Balding. Also making his debut in the GT World Series, giving the reigning champion a run for his money for Ferrari in front of their home crowd here in Italy, it's Max Kroll. And the winner of the opening round of the Manufacturers' Cup here in Milan, give it up for Porsche's Jose Serrano! Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've asked you please to stand if you're able for the national anthem. What a way to kick off the 2026 Gran Turismo World Series. 2 new drivers onto the podium here in Milan. And of course, the reigning world champion picking up where they left off at the end of 2025. Now time for the trophy to be presented. Tiziana Grasso from PlayStation Italy onto the stage to present the 3rd place trophy to Jack Balding for Mercedes AMG. Great job from Jack Balding on the international stage. He's one to watch for the future, certainly. 2nd place trophy is presented by Brembo's Alberto Ferrari as we welcome him here in Milan. And it is presented to the man who was driving the Ferrari, Maximilian Kroll of Germany, the Italian manufacturer. 2nd place on home soil to kick off the 2026 season. And now we welcome the Gran Turismo series producer Kazunori Yamauchi on to the stage to present the winner's trophy once again to Porsche. Jose Serrano of Spain is the winner to take top honours, a maximum of 6 points here tonight. A great way to kick off their campaign this year. Yeah.
Well, that's it. The Manufacturers Cup round 1. A round of firsts. First of all, Kroll doing amazing. And you. This was your first. How was that?
I don't know, I'm so excited, so many emotions. Ci siamo divertiti veramente tanto e secondo me il pubblico in Italia veramente ha dato tantissimo, quindi vi vogliamo ringraziare, siete stati fantastici, fatevi un applauso.
Yeah, amazing stuff to be here in Milan. And I just find it spectacular that we had like 4 new drivers just for this round. But to go from being at home and competing online to then getting onto that stage, I mean, that's a lot. And then to still be going toe-to-toe with Serrano, do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing race, yeah, abbiamo visto veramente tantissimo in pista, hanno combattuto fino alla fine, è stata una gara super vicina e non vediamo l'ora di vedere che cosa accadrà da qui in avanti.
Well, most importantly, have you had fun?
I had a lot of fun. I want to thank you and thank everybody. This organization is great. Ragazzi, credetemi, non ho mai visto una cosa così bella e lavoro da tanti anni in tutta la mia vita, quindi fate un applauso a tutta la produzione.
But also, don't go anywhere because we're going to have the Nations Cup coming up very, very soon. Go get yourself a cup of tea and a biscuit, and we'll be back with some more spectacular racing very, very soon. We'll see you then. Bye!
PlayStation